Showtime pay-per-view. Is 26.
They had to move that to a bigger venue because they couldn't get enough people inside the original venue. 17,000 people turned up in Toronto. I noticed, by the way, that Conor McGregor said no problem about the idea of betting his check, but he didn't look too comfortable about it. And I don't think either of these fellas are betting anything. They're taking their money.
Yeah, he didn't take it any further, did he? But fair play to him. He says, well, we'll send out over the contract, no problem, but he just left it at that and just, I think, hoping that everything just settled down a little bit. But yeah, it was very interesting there. The insults were going in. And I don't think you can compare when Floyd's on about, you know, he's quit his opponent, Conor McGregor, he quit in certain fights and tapped out. You can't compare a defeat in MMA to a defeat or a loss in boxing, although we know that Mayweather's never lost. But they're two totally different disciplines at the end of the day, and that's why a lot of people won't buy into that.
Yeah, he has lost fights, there's no doubt about that, and you will hear Mayweather refer to the tap-outs, the submissions against Nate Diaz, although he did come back and beat him in the rematch. Joseph Duffy 7 years ago in a cage, Artem Stetenkov in 08, but 21 wins, 18 by knockout. And before you say this is a sport where you can kick, Conor McGregor has won 16 of those fights with punches. He has power, and Mayweather knows that he's got to be concerned about that.
Yeah, definitely. I've watched a little bit on Conor McGregor. I'm not a massive MMA fan, I have to say. I'm mainly a boxing fan, obviously, but I have looked up and I've watched Conor McGregor box a few times in these MMA fights, and his boxing skills are quite decent, to be quite honest with you, and he has got good power. He is a southpaw, and although he's regarded as a very aggressive fighter, actually when he's boxing, he can counter-punch on the back foot, and he makes his opponents miss, and then he knocks them out with some good shots. So his boxing skills are quite decent. Obviously, he will have been in a boxing gym in the build-up to this one. Loads of sparring partners, I should imagine, that are very fast and quick on their feet, because you've got to try and prepare for the world's best in terms of Mayweather, in terms of the speed of movement, which is going to be very, very difficult. But all in all, Conor McGregor's boxing skills aren't bad.
Let's hear from Floyd Mayweather Jr. now. He's speaking to our reporter, Gabriel Clark.
What's it like to be here?
It's a great feeling. You know, it's always great to come to the UK, especially with the fight tour. True, die-hard fight fans.
Sum up the tour so far for you. What have you seen in his eyes? What have you made of him? And what have you hoped to make in terms of an impression yourself?
The tour has been very interesting. A lot of entertainment. The fans have been loving the tour. We're not getting good feedback. We're getting great feedback. So it's very exciting.
What do you see when you look into his eyes?
A fighter, a warrior, a guy who wants to win.
What chance has he got? Come on, be honest. You know, boxing aficionados. We're working with Chris Eubank a lot this week. You'll know him, the showman, his son, Chris Eubank Jr. Those sort of guys think no chance for an MMA fighter against a man of your class.
Well, you know, I appreciate it, but I'm a lot older now. You know, Conor McGregor's in his 20s. I'm in my 40s. He has a longer reach. He's taller. And also, he's active and I'm inactive, so that plays a major key.
You're putting a lot on the line here, aren't you?
Yes.
Legacy? Reputation?
Everything, but, you know, I signed up for this.
And just finally, Chris Eubank Jr., you know, he trained with your father, Floyd Mayweather Sr. Chris Eubank Jr. fights tomorrow night.
I'm not Floyd Mayweather Jr.
No.
You know, y'all keep saying senior and junior. Listen, my name is Floyd Joy Mayweather, and my dad is Floyd Mayweather.
But just to say, Chris Eubank Jr. trained with your father, big influence. Tomorrow night here, he fights Arthur Abraham.
Yes.
Who wins? On ITV Box Office, by the way, who wins?
It's a good matchup. It's a real good matchup. You know, both, I mean, Arthur was world champion, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And they said Chris Eubank Jr. is making a lot of noise.
Who wins?
I can't say. I don't really know.
And who wins August 20? Well, I know who you're going to say who wins on August 26th.
August 26th.
But give us a prediction of how it ends.
August 26th is going to be very exciting. I want all the fans around the world, especially my UK fans, to tune in and watch this event.
And what have you got for us tonight?
Oh, man. It's going to be exciting. I'm pretty sure. It's always exciting with me and Conor McGregor.
Got him a birthday present.
Thank you.
Good one.
Oh, we'll wait to see. That was him being humble, by the way, with those diamond-encrusted earbuds in. Tonight, you're going to see the brash and the flash Floyd Mayweather Jr. He said he's got something special up his sleeve tonight in London for Conor McGregor. But behind the scenes, he actually can be at times a very humble guy. Let's go ringside now, because Gabriel's moved back there, and he's talking with tomorrow night's big star. It's Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah, great to have Chris Eubank Jr. with us so close to his fight. But Chris, you couldn't miss this, could you? You had to be here.
It is hard to believe that this is just a press conference.
And a show.
And a show, but it is a press conference in reality, and you know, you can only imagine what fight night's going to be when this is the press conference, when there's no punches thrown tonight. It's great. This is entertainment at its finest. I
know in between your final bits of training and sparring, you've been watching Mayweather and McGregor and the tour so far. What have you made of it? What's been your take on the talking on stage in North America?
You know, they've both said a lot. You know, a lot of people seem to think that Conor's won the last couple. I thought Floyd spoke. I thought Floyd might have got the first one, but a lot of these crowds are pro-Conor crowds, so it's hard for Floyd to kind of to get one up on Conor.
You sense that again tonight as well. I think it feels like an awful lot of the Anglo-Irish population has made it here.
Yeah, there's a lot of Irish. There's a lot of Conor supporters here. There's a lot of Floyd supporters, but you know, it's a different type of support. You know, I think with Conor, he's kind of the guy next door that made it. You know, so people relate more to Conor.
And with Floyd?
With Floyd, he's just, you know, he's the superstar. He's the best boxer in the world. So it's kind of, you know, he's got the cars and the houses, the money. It's hard to relate to someone like that. But at the same time, he is one of the best, if not the best. And so you don't really need to relate to that. You just understand his skill and his understanding of the sport, and that's what gets him his fans.
It was obvious, I think, in the interview that I did with Floyd a few minutes ago, that he's obviously building jeopardy into the fight. He's not going to say, I'm going to win this in one round, which many boxing aficionados believe will happen. What do you make of that? And genuinely, what chance Conor McGregor?
I think Floyd's telling the truth. I don't think anything Floyd says is you know, just for hype or just to say it. You know, if he's saying he's having a tough training camp, and if he's saying that, you know, this is his last fight, then that probably is the case. And you're right, it is only one punch. Conor has a puncher's chance. Floyd is at an age now where, you know, he might get hit a little bit more than he did back in the early days of his career. So there is jeopardy. You know, this is boxing. This is what makes it so sexy. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there are issues with Floyd Mayweather in terms of maybe paying the odd bill. He's been sort of pretty clear about that. But why put so much on the line apart from that? Why risk the legacy? That's what he's doing, isn't it, in boxing terms?
Every fight is a risk. Every time he steps into the ring, he's risking his legacy. So that's not an excuse not to fight. And if you want to talk about risk-reward, the risk-reward factor, you know, he's making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Absolutely, and that obviously is a key factor. But you also think it's also almost like, if I didn't take this fight, I'd regret it. You know, it's an opportunity which will never come along again. There's an element of pride.
You know, and everyone's talking about the money, but it's not just about the money. It is the fact that the world wants to see this fight, and he's given the world what he wants, and you can only respect that.
24 hours time, you'll be behind us in one of the dressing rooms here, preparing for the fight of your life so far, your first defense of that IBO title. Sum up your preparation. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you over the last couple of weeks, but sum up your preparation and exactly what you need to show tomorrow night.
I'm going to make a statement. He's never been stopped before in his career, and my goal is to go in there and stop the unstoppable man. I don't want him to see the final bell. You know, I'm not in there to steal points and dance around and make the fight look pretty. I want to win in devastating fashion, and I believe with the training, with the techniques that I have, I'm fully capable of doing so.
It's obviously been a key thing here. Actually, a few hours ago, Arthur Abraham was pretty much where you are, weighing in for a third time, 5 minutes before the deadline, to try and come in at the correct weight. He has struggled badly. What do you make of all that?
I'm not focused on his weight. You know, that's his journey. He's the naturally bigger guy, so he had to shed a few extra pounds, and I guess he was unprofessional in his preparation for doing that.
Which clearly favours you, which clearly suggests it's going to be easier for you.
I wouldn't say that. I'm not looking into that. I'm not going in there with that mindset. This man is just as dangerous to me as he would have been if he had made the weight perfectly. He's flown over here from Germany, and you know, he's not coming here to lay down. He's not coming up here to give up easily. He's going to go in there and try and knock my head off, which is what he does with every fighter. And I'm fully prepared for that. And I know I've got a chin. I know I can take a punch. That's where I get my confidence from. I know he's going to be relying solely on power. That's not enough to beat a man like me. And
there is a connection to the Mayweather camp, of course, with you. You trained with Mayweather Senior. We mentioned that to Floyd a few minutes ago at the start of your career. Well, take us back to that time, and hoping to get a word or two with Floyd over the course of the next few hours, are you?
Yeah, I mean, I've trained on and off with Floyd Senior and Floyd Junior over the last 2 years. And obviously, you know, you learn a lot. You see a lot, you learn a lot. When you're in that environment of excellence in terms of boxing, you know, it rubs off on you. You know, you pick up things. And I was blessed to have the opportunity to be in Las Vegas and be around these guys over the years, and that's where I get my, you know, that's where I get my special sauce from.
So, who wins that fight, and how does it end?
With Conor and Floyd?
Correct.
You know, never underestimate the will of an Irishman.
As was proved in your father's career and a certain Mr. Steve Collins.
There you go. But Floyd's a hell of a defensive fighter. Tons more experience than Conor, so for Conor to pull something like this off it's going to be mega. It's going to be tough, but you know, if anyone can do it, I mean, every fighter's tried to beat Floyd and they haven't. So maybe it's going to take an MMA guy that's going to do it, because nothing else has worked. So I can't wait.
We can't wait either for your fight tomorrow night, and of course we spent some time with Chris in the last couple of weeks and his father. The Eubanks is on ITV tonight, a documentary about the two of them at 10:40 on ITV. Do watch that, and we continue to wait ringside for the entrance of Mcgregor and Mayweather.
And we're expecting that entrance in around about 15-20 minutes time, although things are fluid, things can change. And Chris Eubank weighed in right on the money, 11 stone 13. The same can't be said for his opponent, as Gabriel was saying there. He needed 3 goes to make the weight and an extra 2 hours. What do you make of that?
That's hard. That's a hard question, to be quite honest, because I remember Steve Collins, the great Irish fighter he was at middle and super middle, and he used to struggle, especially at middle, to make the weight, but he used to make it, and then he used to win world title fights no problem. So some fighters are tight on the weight, yes, but it's not exactly an advantage to Eubank, and I think that won't be a problem for Arthur Abraham. He won't take any strength out of him, no way.
Well, they're top of the bill tomorrow night. Lee Selby is also on the card. The rest of the card is scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now. For Chris Eubank Jr., is this his biggest fight since losing to Billy Joe Saunders?
I think it is his biggest fight. It's his first defence, obviously, and I was impressed with what he said there, because he does want to make a statement in what he wants. Most people in boxing would say that Chris Eubank Jr. is the favourite tomorrow night, but it's how he wins is the big question. And he's going to try and make a statement. He wants to get the stoppage. No one stops Arthur Abraham. He's as hard as nails. He's someone now who's very seasoned, 24 world title fighter, 2-weight world champion, been in with the very best and held his own with everyone. But to stop him, that would be a major statement that would go out to the rest of the super middles. And remember, there's James DeGale, there's George Groves. It's a fantastic division domestically for us, world champions in abundance. It's fantastic.
And we're going to have some of those special guests with us tomorrow, ringside here on ITV Box Office. 25 fights, 24 wins, 27 years of age, Chris Eubank Jr. We know he's signed up to the World Boxing Super Series event. If he wins this, though, the next big milestone on the horizon is a unification fight with George Groves. He's looking at that. He wants that.
Yes, of course he does, and he also wants James DeGale because they've had sparring sessions, and you hear rumours that who's been doing the better in the sparring. The boxers know themselves, and there's another very good WBC #1 middleweight out there, Callum Smith from Liverpool. Now he's in the mix. So there's DeGale, there's Groves, there's Callum Smith, and there's Eubank Jr. The good thing about Eubank Jr. is he can fluctuate between two weights. He can go middle, and he can also do super middle. He's more comfortable now at super middle, but he can drop down again, and that shows he's got talent and he's got a lot of strength to go from middle to super middle and hold his own with the guys in the super middleweight division.
When he first moved up to super middleweight, he did say it wasn't going to be permanent.
Well, this is what I'm saying. He said that he wants to be a two-weight world champion at middle and super middle. He's won the IBO title now. It's a less recognised crown, let's get it right, and that's why he wants to get it on with George Groves, who's the WBA champion, and the IBF champ, James DeGale, who I think is an exceptional fighter, DeGale, always boxing on the road in people's home backyards. He's a great fighter, DeGale, and so, like I say, it's very, very exciting indeed, but Chris Eubank Jr., to win a world title at super middle and middle, you know, he would be like his father. His father did it, Steve Collins did it, Nigel Benn did it. He'd be along up there with those greats.
Some people say that about the IBO belt, but I'll leave you to tell Gennady Golovkin.
Yeah, well, we all know how good Gennady Golovkin is, but that's a fight that he wants also. I spoke to Chris Eubank Jr. He's craving for a Golovkin fight, or so he says.
Well, someone else who's moved up and down the weights is Floyd Mayweather Jr. And he will be fighting Conor McGregor at 154 pounds. Just tell me what you think about the decision to fight at that weight, because that's a weight where Conor's really comfortable. It's not so comfortable for the undefeated Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Well, when you look at Conor McGregor's record, he's been a world champion, remember, at lightweight and at featherweight. So it's a new weight division in a way for him also. And probably Mayweather thinking he's not a natural light middleweight anyway. But looking at the both of them when in the face-offs that they've had, McGregor looks naturally the bigger man. But like I say, Mayweather uses that to his advantage, and the biggest problem is going to be the frustration for McGregor, like I've said before, and he'll fall into that trap. With Mayweather, it's the speed of movement, and he's not bothered if he's making a calculated risk, like he has done in most of his fights, in that he's gone up to light middleweight, or super welter as we call it.
This is against Pacquiao.
This is against Pacquiao. This is a welterweight. So he can go to 154, but he never weighs in hardly at 154. He can be 4 or 5 pounds lighter than his opponent because he feels he has the advantage of the speed of movement. And look at him here against Marcus Banana. He's keeping his distance. He's boxing on the outside, waiting for his opponent to come in. Madana's as strong as they come, but that was a lovely turn there. Then he's back on the centre of the ring. He controls the pace very well. Look how he hits Madana there when Madana was setting for an attack. So he waits for the bigger man to come forward, and he counter-attacks. He beats him to the punch. This is against Saul Alvarez, Canelo Alvarez, who's fighting Golovkin very shortly. A great fighter, one of the most exciting Mexican fighters we've seen in years. But look at Mayweather here. His hand speed is incredible. His punch kicking from hooks. There's the left hook that goes in there. Right hands, he'll throw right uppercuts also. He's exceptional. His accuracy is superb, but he does it all at distance. Look at that for a shot. Right up through the middle, then he's back out to safety. That's what makes him so good, Sam.
He's been winning those belts for 21 years. He's been beating everyone in front of him 18 years. He's been a world champion, but it's all on the line in this fight. Well, that's what you're supposed to believe. Does he think, like most boxers, McGregor has just a puncher's chance?
Yes, I think that's exactly what Mayweather thinks his opponent's got, is a puncher's chance. But so have so many other boxers that have fought Mayweather. They all think that over 12 rounds, he'll slow down, there'll be a lapse in concentration, and I'll get him with that one big punch and lay him out. But why he's so good, Sam, is that he doesn't lapse in concentration. You can count the amount of times on your one hand that he gets caught clean over 12 rounds. He just doesn't lapse in concentration. His concentration levels are very, very good indeed. every second of every round, Mayweather, he's on the ball, he concentrates. That's probably one of his greatest assets, his concentration.
By the way, I know you're not surprised by the delay to this press conference. You can see Ray Flores, the MC, in the centre of the ring here at the SSE Wembley Arena in London, whipping up the crowd and getting ready for the entrance of the two main protagonists tonight, the two superheroes, Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. And when you look at Conor McGregor, you know, he said, I'm going to do 44 fights in preparation. I think he was overselling that. Some boxers do, what, 125, 140 rounds of sparring for a prep for a big fight like this. But he has got that power with his punch. A lot of MMA fighters rely on other attributes, but his hands are the thing that does the damage.
Yeah, he's very good with his hands. I've seen this footage before, look, he waits, he's looking for the shot, there's the shot there, super punch. Now he's goading his opponent, he wants his opponent to come forward. He actually attacks himself, and that's another move in MMA. But watch this, there, he leans over for the right uppercut, comes screw shot, but this is the best shot. Watch this, he adjusts his feet. Now that's good boxing skills.
That's
he
amazing.
adjusts
That's
his
against
feet.
a world champion. That's one of the biggest knockouts in UFC history in 13 seconds.
Adjusts his feet and then brings him onto shots. So his boxing skills aren't bad at all. And because he's got very small gloves on, what are they, 4 ounces or whatever, then these punches obviously hurt. The kid's got power, no question. But the big question is, what can he do differently against Floyd Mayweather that no one else has? That's the big question. Let's have a look here. There he is, there, now he gets his hand raised. What can he do differently that all the other boxers have failed to do? Because he's got to find that big shot from somewhere. He's got 12 rounds to do it. He'll take a lot of punishment, I think, and a lot of stick in the process. But yeah, he's got the chance of landing that one shot. But you land it on Floyd Mayweather, no one else has yet. It's very difficult.
You look at some of those names that he's come up against and beaten: Diego Brandao, Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, we saw there, Nate Diaz, who we saw there, and Jose Aldo, as I mentioned, who he polished off in 13 seconds. He says he's Mystic Mac. He says he's Mystic Mac because in the dressing room prior to that fight, he told everybody, it's on tape, 13 seconds, I'll finish him off. And this is a guy who was undefeated for 10 years, one of the biggest names in MMA.
Yeah, he's a tremendous showman, isn't he? He knows how to get under his opponent's skins, and that's what he's done on several occasions. But listen, you know, like I say, I don't know MMA, but I know boxing. Well, I think I do anyway, and he's got some decent boxing skills, but he's got to turn that then with those bigger gloves on, and he's got to lure Mr. Floyd Mayweather onto one of those shots, or he can actually go after him very aggressively. But so many boxers have tried that and they've failed. Maybe it is to sit back a little bit and try and make Floyd Mayweather miss and fall short, and then try and counter him. But that's going to be difficult because he's so quick with his feet in and out. That's the problem.
Talking of boxing ability, Gabriel Clark's got some more alongside him in Ant Crolla.
Yeah, great to have Ant Crolla here. The reason for the little delay now is Conor McGregor apparently is over the road just getting changed, so we're expecting the Irishman imminently. A big Manchester United fan next to me, Ant Crolla. This atmosphere, dare I say it, is better than Old Trafford at times last season at home?
Maybe sometimes at Old Trafford, maybe, but nothing like United away support. But no, this is very special. I think the only thing close to this is some of the weigh-ins we used to see for Ricky Hatton when he'd take over 30,000 Mancunians or Brits to a fight, and you'd see the weigh-in, but the door crowd in the weigh-in. But this is unbelievable, unbelievable.
I mean, obviously, it's the fight the world wanted to see, is clearly what Mayweather and McGregor camps are telling us. Just why do you think that is? What is it that has really captured the imagination about this?
I think it's the old boxing versus MMA.
The unknown.
That's it, it's the unknown. And